What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Down Unders, and the man, the myth, the legend, Brody is back here again. Brody, how you been, my brother?
Yeah, good, brother. I just needed a week off last week with a bit of shit going on outside of this. So yeah, it's good to be back though. I missed it.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that. Hey, you are behind the camera, not just here for Down Unders, but you behind the camera doing some work for some real estate people, and you obviously are talking really well at the moment. So hopefully all the skills you picked up from this is transferred over to you blowing smoke up the people's asses.
Look, I wish it was a paid gig, bro, but I can't say it was. So definitely just helping out a friend. So, but yeah, no, good to be back talking about what I know, what I love.
100%, bro. 100%. Shout out to everyone jumping into the chat right now. Jazzy, good to see you as always jumping in here today. So obviously tonight, guys, we're going to be talking about all the Pacific Championship squads, our predictions for the game this weekend that me and Brody will be going to. So we're both very excited for that game coming up in the future. We'll also touch on the Prime Minister 13 a little bit, and whatever question you guys have in the comment section, make sure you jump into the chat and give us your thoughts on any of your games or any questions with news going around the league currently right now. But I think what better place to start, brother? You got to check out some of the Prime Minister's 13 over the weekend. Let's go through our thoughts on the Prime Minister's 13 overall. Any big notable names that kind of stepped up for you that you were like, ooh, all right, I saw something, maybe next year I got a little bit of stocks for Super Coach or something like that? Your thoughts overall on the Prime Minister's 13 game, bro?
Yeah, I really like the looks of Dylan Lucas, man. I've had pretty high raps on him all year. I was surprised that the Knights, dropped him in and out of the starting lineup throughout the year. I thought he's one of the Knights' best all year. It was good to just see him prove himself in an Australian jersey. So I really did like the look of Dylan Lucas. He was one that stood out for me for sure.
Yeah, he was incredible, bro. I thought that as soon as he came on, it was like hitting those hard lines on the edge. He even had that big tackle break, that line break moment, and that showed a bit of toe to him as well. Obviously, a lot of people know that he came through the juniors playing center as well, so he's got the ability to play center, to play edge back rower. A couple other big notable names I want to talk about. KIWI'S as well, bro. Like KO... I thought there was like shaky moments for Fletcher Sharp to start the game in that fullback position, being such a young, obviously up and comer in that fullback, and then they switched him out and put KIWI'S in there. And I thought KIWI'S, the speed that man possesses, bro, is still so underrated. I don't think there was many people really talking about that for the 100-meter dash, but I reckon his name could definitely be up there. I'm pretty sure me and you spoke about that, and you said KIWI'S could get up there as well. But your thoughts on his game as well, bro?
Yeah, he was electric when he came on, man. I thought, it was pretty disappointing for Fletcher Sharp, the way he started the game, and it kind of made it look even worse when KO came on and took over and absolutely killed it. And, Fletcher Sharp shouldn't be too disheartened by it. He hasn't played fullback all year. He's a young fella playing up against a strong PNG. They always start strong, at least. But, yeah, man, he killed it. KIWI'S. Couldn't believe how well he actually did play. Is he a half? Is he a fullback? Man, put it this way, you would rather him in your team than not.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Shout out Lockie in the chat too. 66-6, he jumps in with the chat with. Get straight away out of this chat after that sort of chat going around, mate. He's never going to let me live him down. Might as well talk about a couple of Titans players that did impress me. Well, one Titans player that definitely did impress me in this game. Beau Fermor, that always seems to stand out in these Prime Minister's 13 sort of matches. I think his time is coming up shortly to get an origin spot again, hopefully in the future. Obviously, there's a lot of big names that are actually chasing those spots for the Maroons jersey, but I thought he was really solid over the weekend as well, bro. Your thoughts on him?
Yeah, you rate Beau Fermor highly, and I do as well. Actually, I really think he is underrated, especially when he's up against David Feeder for that number one back row spot in the Titans.
Yeah.
But I do reckon his work is underrated, and I thought he played really well. I was a little disappointed with AKP. APK.
AKP.
Fuck that up all the time, bro. But I was a little bit disappointed with his game on the weekend. I was disappointed with Savage's game on the weekend. Just a few little laziness areas. But yeah, Beau Fermor, man, for the Titans, absolutely killed it.
Yeah, bro. He's got a little bit of toe to him as well, man. Like, as soon as he gets into space, obviously that one moment later on in the game where he smelt the try line and he just was like head down, just going, and unfortunately just missing out. And also kicking a conversion later on in the game too. So shout out Beau Fermor showing the skill set on show as well. Another one is an ex-Titans player that's been impressing me overall this season. What's your thoughts been over Sam McIntyre this season and the growth in his game over going to the Cowboys? I think he's been really solid overall, this season in general.
Yeah, look, his game has grown a lot, and I think that's due to, playing around the guys like Ruben Cotter and Jason Tamalolo up there at the Cowboys. And,
Yeah,
with Jason Tamalolo's minutes being limited, McIntyre's been really forced to play good football. And I think he's
yeah.
doing that, man. And it showed on the weekend, and it was, a bit of a feather in his cap to finally get that nod. I know it's only the Prime Minister's game, but it's still Australia jersey nonetheless. And he performed, man. And it's not easy going up against a PNG pack, man. They're physical,
No.
and he actually ended up getting a little chockies there at the end with that try. That was a beautiful little try. I would have been celebrating a lot more if I was a front row forward and scored a try, man. He played that one pretty cool. I would have been going off. So, yeah, good man, good man.
Couple other big performers, and obviously AKP ended up scoring a try in this game. But that forward pass put obviously Tom Brady to shame in that game. But obviously we do understand now why he chips and chases when he gets out in the clear. That good 20-meter forward pass there from AKP, but I appreciate the speed that he possesses, man. He just is like as soon as he touches the ball with a little bit of space, fuck me, it's just like red lights just everywhere, beam, and defense is going crazy.
Yeah, speed kills, man. But yeah, too bad that boy can't pass, honestly.
Bro.
Jason Poe.
It's like I was trying to be fair to him. I was like left to right, but I'm like, brother, you're a professional, man. Like that was a good 20-meter forward pass. It's like put Reece Walsh's preliminary final pass to shame. That was crazy.
Bro, he's chasing that big money in America, bro. Get him to Vegas.
Get him to Vegas, baby. Get him to Vegas. But enough on the Aussie side of things. Also, there was a couple of names that I thought played really well for the PNG side. That Judah Rimbu, I'm pretty sure we've discussed a lot about him too. Got a lot of potential. He's the hooker for the PNG Kummels. He's going to be playing in the Pacific Championship, scoring the first try of this match, and obviously really he causes a lot of havoc in dummy half just due to his size, his speed out dummy half. He's a good running hooker. Your thoughts on his game overall? You would have seen probably a couple of him like over the last couple of years in Pacific Championship, plays in the Super League, but a really talented little hooker.
Yeah, he was very strong. It's definitely, there was definitely him and a few others, bro, that if that PNG squad got into the NRL, that, you could potentially see NRL jerseys. So,
100%.
yeah, definitely. If you put them in a good system, man, they would just grow. They would be absolutely outstanding. But yeah, he showed ability, and that chip chase, I know it wasn't him, but that chip chase try at the end, man, was spectacular. Like, I even had to be like, yeah, I'll just give it to them. They deserve to win the game with a try like that.
Bro, it's just like full effort, full heart, and just seeing that like the fan base in PNG, like every time we go to PNG and we watch a game over there, those fans go absolutely mental. And I know personally being like, doing content on like TikTok and YouTube and stuff, whenever I do a PNG like video or a PNG TikTok, that thing always bangs. Like it goes crazy. I'm pretty sure I told you earlier on this year that like one of my better demographics for YouTube and TikTok's actually Papua New Guinea. So, they go crazy for their rugby league, bro.
You should have put it in the title for this video, bro, just to get some views.
Bro, I put it in the description down below. So make sure all my Papua New Guinea fans get up in here and like and subscribe. Make sure you do. But we'll be talking a little bit more PNG Kummels a little bit later on with their game against the Fiji Barty. But a couple other bigger news going around the league currently right now, my bro. I think the biggest one that kind of got opened up a little bit today was Benny Hunt is going to be testing the market in obviously November 1. Your thoughts on any sort of options for him? I think we just discussed before in the pre-show a couple of teams. You want to bring that up? But yeah, your thoughts on Benny Hunt moving on, if he is even going to move on? I know it seems to be a constant thing now.
Yeah, this story's been dragging on for way too long, and what's the saying? When you smell shit, there's shit. So there must be something going on there at the Dragons. So I guess it's time I think for the Dragons, if they want to move forward, as good as Ben Hunt has been for them, it's clearly not a happy relationship there. There's no future there. I feel like Ben Hunt at this point of his career will be maybe the final piece to a puzzle for a team. So a team like the Broncos or the Knights, who are chasing someone that could potentially put them well into finals contention. Whereas like if he goes to a team that's still trying to rebuild, like the Titans, I just don't like that. I don't like that for a team like the Titans. I don't like that for a team like the Doggies. You don't want someone that is that age in their career, who hasn't even won grand finals,
taking jersey, eh?
Yeah, holding a jersey when you're trying to build something for, the next 5 years. Whereas like Ben Hunt, and the player he is could be that final piece to a team like the Broncos, especially if Adam Reynolds does, throw it in. So I think there is better options if he is on the move, but I won't believe it until I see a video that's not AI generated of Ben Hunt saying that I am leaving the Dragons, because all this media report is just bullshit at the moment.
And it just seems to be news and news and news all around the Dragons currently right now. And listening to Flano talk on, he's currently on the Rugby League Roundtable with James Graham. It's amazing content, guys, if you want to go check out James Graham's channel with the buy round. But Flano talks so well about trying to rebuild the Dragons. Obviously had a pretty decent year to what a lot of people's standards were for the Dragons this year. A lot of people would have picked them for either wooden spoon, bottom four, but he actually got them to an inconsistent side, but a side that showed a lot of good things for the future. To the edge back rollers had their best seasons. Obviously, Jaden Sewer, getting back into the origin frame. You got the other side of Raymond's Vital and Mariner finding some form again that a lot of people hadn't seen from him since the Doggies days. So, he can definitely turn things around. Whether he wants to continue, because his first thought was when he got to the Dragons was he was going to keep Ben Hunt and he was going to do everything he can to keep Ben Hunt. But I'm guessing now with where the team's at right now, I don't know who their replacement half could be, but if they were looking to move Ben Hunt on, they're probably in a better shape to do it now than what they probably could have done before. But then again, also just saying on that, losing players like Bud Sullivan and stuff, they probably could have kept those sort of players around and then pushed them up. So it just shows a lot of those sides that were lower in the ladder, in earlier years, definitely just the higher up, some of the decisions they make early on just really screw it up for an experienced coach trying to come in and trying to fix up what's going on in that program. So your thoughts on Flano and what he's sort of doing with the squad at the moment? Obviously Valentine Holmes coming over, a lot of rumors that, you got Dewey in chats with the Dragons currently right now, apparently. There's a lot of rumors coming out of Dragons right now.
Yeah, another one was Gotho. So I don't see any of those guys plug the problems they're having of Ben Hunt potentially wanting to leave. But, it is what it is. But for Flano, I feel like he did a pretty good job with a team that didn't change too much from where they were the year before. He didn't get any real big name signings last year, and he turned the team around just on effort and heart. So, add some good key signings and signings that make sense. And the Dragons could probably do a lot more and a lot better. But, losing Hunt and trying to sign someone like Gotho, I've seen Ben Hunt come out and say he could play 6 for the Dragons. I'm like, no, I don't think that's a great option. And then, Dewey, he's so injury prone. I don't think he's a good 6 or a center option when you're the Dragons that are trying to rebuild. And, as good as talent these guys are, some of them are at the end of their career like Holmes and Gotho are. And then you've got, Dewey, who's injury prone. So they're just, they've re-signed Jack Bird, who's injury prone. They're just, I don't know, they're not making the right steps to rebuild. They're not buying to build around these guys. They're just trying to be like, yeah, he's a big name. Let's try and get him over, see what he does for us. That seems to be what it is at the Dragons at the moment. And whoever gets that coaching role is just told to just, here you go, work it out. Like that's how it seems at the moment. It's just no direction in their signings. It's a bit chaotic.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious of what they're sort of signing, because a lot of it is pointing towards, Tyrell Sloan, I actually thought had a somewhat decent season this season, especially to a lot of the chat around Tyrell Sloan, the years past, where obviously the only thing I could really question about Tyrell is sometimes he just switches off, completely switches off. But there's other times where you just see the spark that he has, and I'd rather try to keep that around and try to mold him into the player he is. But when you sign players like Valentine Holmes, most likely will probably play center or wing, but there has been thrown up the ability of him playing fullback. Then you have Gotho, that's a previous fullback to the club. He's coming, in chats to maybe coming over and that. A lot of these positions are fighting for Tyrell Sloan's position. So how does that make you feel as a younger player too, being feeling like you got to a level where you're like, all right, I feel like I can grow in my game, and then you're hearing Gutho might come over. So it's like, oh, do I go back to, New South Wales Cup and work on my game even more? It's one of those situations with the Dragons where I feel like they're trying to recover from what's going on before. And it's just they're trying to put that one puzzle piece that will put it all together, and you go, all right, now I know where to build from. But they're just throwing money at anything to solve their problems at the moment, which I know a lot of clubs have had problems with in the past.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like. And as you said, man, being Tyrell Sloan, who had somewhat of a decent season, yes, there was some inconsistencies, but there was with the whole team. He had a solid enough season, and then you go and, throw money and try and buy these guys, like you said, at fullbacks. Where does that leave him? It leaves him going to potentially to another club, becoming better in his game, and then that club's got, you know, a fullback for the next 10 years because he's still so young, whereas you've just signed a guy like Gotho and Holmes who've probably got 2 good years left in him. And then where are you going to be after that? You're going to be back to trying to develop or trying to find someone else. You know, sometimes it's somewhat good to stick with what you know and develop the young ones, but it doesn't seem like the Dragons are keen on doing that at the moment, even losing, you know, one of the FIJI brothers to the Dolphins. So it's absolute chaos to, you know, sign Valentine Holmes. Yes, Valentine Holmes is a good player. I'm not saying he's not, but, you know, you got to look at more than just next season. You got to look at, like, you know, 3-4 years.
That's a big thing, bro. That's a big thing. And they definitely lost a little bit of junior talent that they've had there in the past. Obviously, we all know the Moan situation, but also, you know, we got the Bud Sullivan moving on to the Tigers. That whole situation with the Tigers currently right now, like, you know, Bud could have probably stick around for a little bit longer. And, you know, with Fleno, could have probably developed him into a really good halfback, or at least a half to pair up with Fleno or whatever they're going to do there. But, like, there's been a lot of ones like that. Like, Tamale is another player that they had at the Dragons, a really talented center that's now gone to the Raiders from memory. Like, the Raiders are picking up all these little junior gems at the moment, off a lot of teams like the Parramatta Eels, which, you know, we could actually talk about right now. Your thoughts on Gotho and all the news around that? The November one, Gotho getting moved on. There was a lot of rumors they were trying to make him into a 13. There were a lot of rumors trying to put him back in center. Like, preferably, I think you kind of are on the same wavelength of me. I think the best you can get out of Gotho is at fullback, because I feel like his effort areas is where his probably best asset is, like, in football, in my opinion. I don't think he's a great, an amazing playmaker. I don't think he's an amazing, like, you know, athletic phenom. I think the best thing about Gotho is he's going to work for 80 minutes and he's just going to be working tirelessly, which is fullback is probably preferable for him. But your thoughts on Gotho, the Parramatta Eels, and their situation too? They're two similar clubs that are going through fairly similar things.
Yeah, if you put the work that Gutho's done and the, you know, in the work that Gotho puts into each game, if you put him in a team like the Panthers or the Roosters, he is probably one of the best 5 fullbacks in the game. And let's not joke around about that. Like, if you go stat for stat with, like, Edwards and, like, Teddy, you know, especially in the years where all of the spine for the Eels have been on, so the year that they made the grand final, for instance, like, what was that, 2 years ago? Check Gutho's stats from that year, and he would be top 5 statistically. And if you had him in a team like the Panthers or the Roosters, you would be saying this dude should be playing Origin, this dude should be playing Australia. You're right, 100% on his efforts, his run meters, his ball playing is not too bad out the back, of good shape. But the Parramatta Eels just haven't been able to provide that for someone like Gotho. So it's making him look bad, unfortunately. He plays through his injuries as well. He doesn't really have too many weeks off. And he just plays through it, man. And he's getting the rough end of the stick, I do believe. So, yeah, I don't know. That's tough for me. I don't know where Gotho will go to play a lot better. I've thrown up potentially the Canberra Raiders. You know, he kind of suits that system where it's like the power game. He plays off and offload. That's type of Gutho's game. You know, he eats the meters up. He's consistent at the back. Not too many errors. That's the type of team that might suit him, because you know that Canberra Raiders are going to put in effort through the middle, whereas the Eels this year haven't, and it just all falls back on the Gutho's fault.
And Jason Roll's got a massive job on his hands there too, but it also just feels so weird. Like, as I said, some of the positions that have been thrown up for Gotho to take him away from that fullback jersey, they're looking at putting him in 13 and that. And I'm just like, I don't think it suits Gotho. I think what suits Gotho is being out back, you know, talking. He's one of the biggest talkers in rugby league. We all know, like, obviously he talks to the referee all the time. Like, everyone knows his effort and his heart in the game is more suited for me in that fullback position. Like, whenever I see him defending the line, I don't think he's the strongest defender in the world, but he'll get it done at that fullback position. So, like, I don't like seeing him in the 6 jersey. I don't like seeing him at center. I don't like seeing him at 13. I think he's a fullback. And to hear that, like, with Parramatta, it's either like, well, you got to change your position or you're going. It's kind of like, I feel for Gotho a little bit there. But if he goes to the Dragons and that, like, do they put him at fullback? We just talked about Tyrell Sloan. Like, it's one of those leagues at the moment where fullback seems to be one of the harder positions to actually shape around. Like, we're even talking about pre-show far longer. If he was going to test the market, where could he go? And we throw up the Raiders. But when discussing the Raiders, we got KIWI'S that played well in the PNG game. You got Chevy Stewart that's making waves in New South Wales Cup at the moment there for that fullback position. So you got a couple of moving pieces there. You know, we have a similar problem with the Warriors. We got, you know, Chance Nickel-Klosag, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, and Tane Tuapiki, where our fan base is so split between who they want at fullback out of those 3 players there. It's just one of those positions that if Gotho was to get put on the market, I don't know what team gets him, and I don't know what team can get him back to where he needs to be, where, you know, he was a Parramatta Eel, right? And like, it kind of feels a bit stink that way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, brother. And, you know, Farlongo might end up at the Eels as well. You touched on it before the show that, you know, Riles is going there. He might drag him over from Melbourne. If I was KIWI'S though, man, I would be working on my game to become a halfback, because you're going to get bigger money and more interest as a halfback right now than a fullback. Fullbacks seem to be dimes a dozen at the moment, whereas the halfbacks, everyone's screaming for one. So if KIWI'S, you know, in this offseason really focuses on being a halfback, you know, do the whole Jerome Hughes. Put your hand up and say, I'm going to work on my game as a halfback. I want to be a halfback, and the big money will come. And look at the season that Jerome Hughes has had from that fullback to halfback switch. And I feel like some more fullbacks that have the talent that KIWI'S has got. He's got a decent kicking game as well. He could really shape into being a great halfback. I don't really see that in Farlongo or Gotho, but KIWI'S definitely has that ability. So if I was him in his position, man, I'd be doing that.
Yeah, with KO, like seeing him in that 7 jersey too early on this year, I actually enjoyed a little bit of KO in that 7 jersey. He actually had a lot better of a kicking game than I actually thought he actually had. And Ricky seems to be a really good coach to get the best kicking game out of his halfbacks that he has, you know, overall. Like Jamal Fogarty was never known, like when he was at the Titans, had a decent kicking game, but was never known as like one of the better kickers in the competition. But, you know, playing for the Raiders at like major parts of the season, led the comp in kick meters. Then he obviously got injured for a big part of the season, came back, and I think he still ended up in the top 5 or top 10 sort of range for kick meters in the competition. Like his kicking game like solely won the Raiders games later on in the season as well. I think Ricky Stewart can mold KIWI'S into a really good halfback. And then obviously, as you said, halfbacks are a dying breed right now. Like every club is yelling out for one. Like even like, again, I'll bring it back to the Warriors. I love Tamati Martin, and like I hope that like he gets the first shot and all that this next season. But there's a lot of the fan base that's looking around and said we need to get a half over to the Warriors and, you know, fill in that role. And, you know, if KO can really fill out that potential and become a really good playmaker, that opens up opportunities. As you said, there's so many clubs looking for a good halfback right now.
I think the Warriors fans need to chill out with that. I think Tarare Martin did a really good job in the games that Johnson wasn't there. And you got to remember, this dude had nearly a full preseason as either coming off the bench or as a 5'8". It was never to play halfback his preseason. And a preseason has so much to do with how you shape up for your year. It's not as simple as, you know, you can just jump into it, you know, weeks out, weeks on, weeks off, into halfback, onto the bench. You know, if you have a full preseason that knowing you're going to be the number 7, the number 7 jersey is going to be you. You've got that whole preseason, and you know going into that season, everybody knows going into that season, that's my halfback. You build your combinations around your halfback. Whereas he didn't have any of that, and he still performed so well for you guys. You're going to see a much better Tamari Martin next year that has that preseason, that has the confidence of that 7 jerseys his, and can build that combination with Metcalf in that 6 jersey. It's going to go so much better for you guys, as opposed to like, shit, Johnson's out. Wait, tomorrow we've got you to play halfback this week. He's then got 2 training sessions as well as all the travel to try and get ready to play 7 that weekend. A lot goes into it when you're playing the best of the best. So wait for him to have a great preseason. And if I'm wrong and he shockers it in the first 3-4 games, I'll put my hand up and say, all right, maybe he's not the man. But other than that, I do believe that you will see a much better, much more organized Tamari Martin, because it's his team now. It's not you're filling in for Johnson. So stick strong there. Stick strong there. I really do believe you'll be right.
I totally agree, bro. I could bash home those points to the cows come home. I do it on Bars Up TV all the time. Like we look at some of our win percentages with Tamati Martin in that 7 jersey. Had a better win percentage than Sean Johnson on average this season overall. And the games that we did lose, we lost to your doggies where we had like injuries to our whole back line and that. Yeah, don't get me started. Don't get me started. And then obviously we had the Raiders game where we scored more tries than the Raiders, and we end up losing due to the goal kicking and stuff like that. We had the Dolphins game where we end up scoring more tries than the Dolphins. Defensively, we weren't good in that game, but there was a lot of big moments like that too. So I would prefer to have Tamati Martin there, and I do believe that him and Luke Metcalf will have a really good halves, connection. They played a little bit in New South Wales Cup together when Metcalf came back, and they had a really good connection together. I think they will be okay in that spot, and I think that, again, I agree. I think as Warriors fans, just settle down a little bit. We'll be okay. Like, enjoy the journey. Like, I trust in Webby wholly and solely, and I think that he can get the best out of this club for sure in the future.
100%. If not, man, then you start looking, you give Tamari Martin that season, that half a season, and then at the end of the day, who have you really got better out there? Who might fit that system better? Maybe Isaiah Katoa from the Dolphins, but I don't think you're going to drag him away from Queensland. I think he loves it in Queensland.
Yeah, 100%, bro. 100%. All right. Well, we'll move on to our Pacific Championships segments of the show here tonight, guys. So obviously, I want to touch on with Brodie's thoughts on each and every squad before we go through the weekend's matchups here. So first of all, bro, we'll go through the Kiwi squad overall. You may not have it in front of you, but I'll just go through from top to bottom. So starting off with Aaron Clark, we got Phoenix Crossland, James Fisher-Harris, Peter Hiku, Jermaine Asako, Keanu Kinney, Casey McLean, Griffin Neem, Chance Nickel Klokstad, Cody Nikarima, Maratha Nekore, Isaiah Papali'i, Jordan Riki, Scott Sorensen, Joseph Tarpanet, Leo Thompson, Matt Tamoko, Trent Taulau, Will Warbrick, and Nafu White. Nafahu White. I knew I was going to muff it at the end. I was talking well too quickly. Oh, yeah. Shout out, Lukey. But your thoughts on the Kiwi squad, bro? Obviously, a lot of big injuries. No Joey Manu too, moving to rugby union and that. No, obviously, Jerome Hughes due to Sean Johnson jumping in with injury and that sort of stuff. Like, your thoughts overall on the squad?
Yeah, a lot of injuries. It's the probably more weaker, Kiwi side we have seen in a long time, like no Hughes, no Nelson, no Nicola, no Iro, no Ronaldo, no Joey Manu. No RTS, the list goes on, man. So some really big outs for them. Look, still all talented players, all starters for their club. Still a lot of talent there. I think you're going to get a much more calm Sean Johnson as well, because it's, a bit of fun. He will wear his heart on his sleeve with it. But, there's not going to be pressure on him. It's just going to be, I'm playing for my country. I'm doing what I love. There'll be a lot of emotion for the guys as well. So they'll get the job done until they play Australia. But look, we'll see. But no, look, it's more of a weaker squad, definitely. But, they'll still be very competitive.
Yeah, I kind of touch on with you at work, when we talk about all these sort of squads and stuff, I still look at, when I'm looking at the Tongan squad, when I look at Australia, when I look at New Zealand, right? I think the difference between Australia and New Zealand is when we're looking at how crispy the sets could run off, their dummy half, and just the little intangibles, the cohesiveness of the sides. Like technically the way they play their football, I think is still a little bit of edge above Tonga, even though Tonga's team list, we'll go through that a little bit later on. Like it's an incredible team list, but I think you can't beat sometimes just like footy IQ and skill that some of these other sides possess. Like the Kangaroos, we'll talk about a little bit later on. I think their ruck speed is probably going to be on a different level. And even with the weaker side of the Kiwi squad, you still got like a connection as it's like, running for a set play. You got Sean Johnson to Cody Nikarima. I think that's going to work a lot better than Isaiah Katoa to Tui Lolahia. That Lolahia likes to stunt a lot of like set pieces and stuff like that. So I don't think Kiwi fans should worry too much about what's going on here. And obviously the injuries and that, but obviously it's really disappointing not a full strength Kiwi squad going up against Australia to back up what they did last year, right?
Yeah, 100%. We definitely wanted that notch back. But hey, it will still be a good game. And I do see it still being New Zealand versus Australia. I don't, like you said, as good as this team on paper looks for Tonga, I think that will break down when they fall behind. Like you touched on the ruck speed. All those boys wouldn't be doing too many extras now that the season's over. You know what I mean? They'll be like on holidays coming in for the paycheck. Nah, they'll be loving representing their country. But you're right, the ruck speed is just different, and the footy IQ is just different. And I do think Australia do lack that a little bit this season, but I think they'll still be all right. There's plenty of level-headed guys there. But back on the Kiwi side, man, Sean Johnson coming in definitely is a big up. If he didn't, and you're stuck picking halves that weren't Johnson and Hughes, then I'd be a lot more worried. So hopefully Johnson just goes injury-free, just to make sure that you guys have somebody there running that show for you guys.
Nice. And before we go through the game of this weekend too, guys, we'll touch on the other squads that we'll be talking about. The Papua New Guinean squad in general, some big notable names because I'm not going to name every one of these guys in the squad here, but Lockie Lamb, Edwin Ipape, Liam Horn, Robert Derby, Jacob Arlick that plays for the Gold Coast Titans, Kyle Laybart, Nene McDonald, Reese Martin. We're a massive fan of Reese Martin. Shout out to Reese Martin.
For sure, yeah, Reese Martin's a killer. Come back to the doggies, please.
Roderick Ty, a lot of really good names. Judah Rimbu, who I just spoke about before as well. Definitely a very, very strong Kumul squad. Going up against the Fiji squad that's fairly strong this weekend as well. Your thoughts on the Kumuls, how they're running in? Obviously the halves pairing of Lockie Lamb and And Labour is definitely a really solid one, probably one of the better out of the Pacific Bowl teams with Fiji, Cook Islands, and Papua New Guinea. So your thoughts there?
Yeah. Look, they'll be a lot better than they were on the weekend. So, you know, don't take them for granted coming into this game thinking that they're going to get done the same way that Australia did them on the weekend with a third division Australian team, whatever it is. So, yeah, I think they'll be a lot stronger. This game's always pretty close between these two. And PNG are just gritty, bro. They just keep going. So
100%. Moving over quickly to the Cook Island squad that have the bye round this week with the Pacific Bowl. We got Brad Takarangi. He's playing still. Shout out to Brad Takarangi. Good to see him there. Davey Mawale for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Eason Masters. I think both the Masters boys are playing here. Yeah, Stephen Masters and Esan Masters are playing. Tipai Maroa. Xavier Willison's playing. Zane Tenavano is playing as well. Pride Peterson, Rabati, Mason Teague. That's with the Dolphins. A really solid player there too. Yeah, some really, really nice names there for the Cook Island squad. I'm really curious to see how some of these big boys go out there. David Mawali is in another year of first grade with his development. Keen to see him in the Cook Island squad. Xavier Willison is definitely the big name to be circled because there's a lot of rumors on him maybe on a move as well away from the Broncos if the Broncos don't lock him up. So your thoughts there?
Yeah, just hopefully they have somebody to steer them around. I'm not sure who they're going to have playing half. I'm pretty sure they've had, Takarangi play that 5'8" role back in his day, and that never went too well for them. But, if they find that half that can guide them around a little bit, they're pretty solid, man. That's a pretty solid forward pack when you look at it on paper, man.
Yeah, 100%. A whole lot of skill with those guys. Fiji Bati as well, brother. We got obviously Suni Taruva, Semi Valamai, Mike Acevo, Tane Milne, Michael Jennings, Kevin Aguama, Wanga Blake. Did you see the Wanga Blake highlight? I'm not too sure when this happened in the Super League, bro, but it was on the back of an edge play with St. Helens. He had probably about a good 5 meters of space and a try line right in front of him. And the biggest left foot stepped back into traffic from Wanga Blake. And you see the reason why he is definitely over the Super League currently right now. But shout out Wanga Blake.
Bro, he's going to be playing New South Wales Cup for his England team soon. What are you doing, man? Did he need to break a certain amount of tackles to get a bonus, or what are you doing?
Bro, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I saw that on Instagram just before, and I was like, what is going on there? But shout out Kurt Donahue, the Dolphins. He plays hooker, can play 6, he can play multiple different positions. He's going to be playing halfback this weekend. The one that you will be watching out for, obviously, Katoni Tonga, your edge back rower that played for you in the preseason trial. He's a heavy hitter, so I'm excited to see him run out there too. William Mikikau as well, another doggy that you have there. Tui Kamakamitha. A fairly strong squad overall, Fiji Bati. Obviously missing RP Coruscant, which sucks, but overall still a very strong squad there.
Yeah, RP is going to be a big miss. I think he would have been great for them to guide them around the park a little bit with him and Kurt Donahue. But other than that, I think they'll get the job done against PNG still. I really like the talent they have across the park. I think Kikau is going to have a bit of fun, especially if he's up against, hopefully he's not up against Reese Martin, because that would be a really good matchup. But I've gone both of them to score a try, so I don't want them going up against each other. So hopefully they're on opposite sides of the field. But killer Fiji team, and I think they will get the job done. I don't think it'll be a big scoreline though. I think it'll be 1-12.
Yeah, 100%, brother, 100%. All right, let's move over to the games of this weekend, brother, and let's talk a little bit more about the big game this weekend, Kangaroos versus Tonga 13. Me and Levon spoke a little bit about it last night. Looks like Tonga has lost the rights to Mate Tonga, which is not too sure. A lot of political things go on to the Pacific Championship with the Pacific side, so that sucks. So Tonga 13 just doesn't roll off the tongue as well as Mate Tonga. But anyway, Kangaroos versus Mate Tonga, I'll call it. Obviously, the team lists that have come out today. We got Dylan Edwards. Oh, yesterday, sorry, the team list coming out. Dylan Edwards, Xavier Coates, Hamiso Tabuai-Fido, Tom Trebojevic, Zach Lomax. In the halves, Tom Dearden, Mitchell Moses. Up front, Paddy Carrigan, Lindsay Collins. In number 9, Harry Grant. Edge back rows, Angus Crichton, Cam Murray, Isaiah Yeo in that lock position. And then in the interchange, shout out your boy, Matty Burton, finding himself in that 14 jersey. Mitchell Barnett, shout out our boy, Warnett, baby. Ruben Cotter and Hudson Young fills out the bench there. Your thoughts on that squad on paper?
Yeah, look, I think it's a bit of a crazy one with Trbojevic in the centers. Like, fucking talent, don't get me wrong, but is he fit? Like, is he 100% fit? And my answer to that, just looking at this team list, is potentially no. To have Burton on that bench instead of Ben Hunt tells me that there might potentially be an injury there in that back line that Mel's worried about. So I dare say, Burton's there for that bit more flexibility, can play in the halves, play center. Good kicking game if we fall behind and need some meters, or if Moses gets injured, because obviously he's potentially injury prone here as well. And then, you got the option to move in Dearden to hooker potentially and Bodo into the 6. So I like that move from Mel. It's a very strong squad to start with. Obviously with, Cleary and stuff out. I'm pretty happy with it. I don't mind the nod of DCE getting dropped. Look, I would have loved to, look to the future. I would have loved to have the experience still there, but I think Moses will get it done. And why not after the season that he's had for Origin? Who's to say he can't back it up in Australia? I know he hasn't played too much footy for the Eels, but that's probably a blessing in disguise for Mitch Moses at the moment, because that will get your confidence way down.
100%, bro. 100%. And going up against this Tongan side as well, bro, we'll go for the numbers here. We got Lehigh Hopawate at fullback. We got Daniel Tupou and Sione Katoa as our wingers here. Moses Suli and Paul Alamonte as our centers. Tui Lolahia, Isaiah Qatar as our halves pairing. Adam Finor-Blake, Felice Galfusi up front with Siliva Havili in that hooker role. Hamole Olekowatu in the edge back role with Alessia Katoa and Jason Tamalolo in that lock position. On the bench, we've got Sonny Luke, Satili Tupanua, Daniela Paseka, and Keon Kolomatangi, bro. A fairly strong squad on paper, or a very strong squad on paper. Your thoughts overall on that squad? Is there any big weaknesses you want to point out, in the squad in general as well, as an Aussie fan looking in this matchup?
The centers, bro. I'll be worried. They're going to have their skates on for sure, especially with the hammer to burn them on the outside, and then Trbojevic and the hammer jumping over their halves. So I definitely would be worried if I was Tonga, just in that centers and that decision-making in their centers as well. Like Alamonte's grown so much, don't get me wrong, in that Panthers system, but coming up against two guys like, Trbojevic with Lomax outside of him and the hammer with Coates outside of him, that's a dangerous back line. So you need to be on your game. And then not to mention, the back rolls that Australia have that create so much ruck speed. And then Harry Grant wheeling and dealing off the back of that, off the quick play, the balls between Cam Murray and Angus Crichton. Man, he's going to punch short sides. He's going to go himself. Mitch Moses loves a quick play of the ball. Dearden loves the show and go. Man, there's threat everywhere for this Australian side, and it's the perfect team to pick to play a team like Tonga, who are a little bit lazy around the ruck. I can't see us losing this game. I can't see us not winning this game by more than 20. So as strong as that team for Tonga is on paper, just the leg speed, the little dip between the season ending to now as well. A lot of these guys for Australia have still played fairly solid footy, coming into the finals, Coates and stuff like that. And they all would stay fit. They're all professional athletes that, they're all professional athletes. Jesus Christ, what am I saying? But, they're all guys that hold themselves very accountable, like your Ruben Cotters, who are fit as fuck, Patrick Carrigan, Harry Grant, all these guys that, can play 80 minutes. I don't really see that so much in that Tongan squad, especially in their forward pack. So I think, the meters in their legs are going to struggle, especially towards half time and then the back end of that second half as well.
If you were to take, this Tongan squad, let's say you were the coach, right? And you were to let's say, create a player for Tonga to hopefully lift them into the future, or even make a couple of different selections, what selections would you take? Like for me personally, I look at that number 9 position and having Havili starting at number 9. I've just never loved Havili's service from dummy half. Always feel it's fairly slow off the ground. And when you got front rows like Adam Finor-Blake and that, you want to get him over the advantage line. I feel like having a hooker more so like a Sonny Luke type, but even he's been fairly out of form as well. So I feel like that's an area that they could definitely grow at. Having Isaiah Qatar definitely helps him so much right now, but probably having another 6 that could probably be his foil a little bit there too. But also, I was like having Galol Matangi on the bench. I would have preferred to have him in that 13 jersey just for like, that side-to-side movement in the middle. As we were just touching on, like the ruck speed is going to be like crazy and it'd probably get pulled apart. Having Galol Matangi, a little bit of a smaller body that can move mobile a little bit, like, getting behind and, clean up the ruck work. I feel like that would probably suit a little bit more. Like if you got any names in that or any positions you'll change for Tonga that you're like, this is what they should be working towards for the World Cup.
Look, I think with the 9 selection of Harvey, I think you only see that for about 10, 15 minutes. And then, he'll go to lock to replace Tomalolo and Sonny Luke will come on. I think that's what Tonga is looking to do here. JT's got the issues with his knees or his bones, whatever it is these days, to the point where he can't play big minutes like he used to. So I think that's the move that will happen there. Harvey's just there defensively to start the game. And then it's, shifting into potentially some good ball, some leg speed through the middle with Sonny Luke and Keon coming on. So I think that's the play that they're looking to do here. And then even if you weren't to pick Harvey, who else you got there as a hooker option or a 5'8" option? It's pretty slim pickings, I guess, for them at this point in time. The one for Australia, I still don't get. I don't know who he's blowing, but Hudson Young. Like honestly,
yeah, the big pick over Liam Martin.
Bro, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but he just seems to always keep popping up in these squads when I feel like there's better options to pick.
Yeah, I feel like he had a lot better of an end to the season than what he did to start the season to get the Blues jersey to start off with, in my opinion. I feel like, after being in the Origin camp, he definitely stepped up his game. He had a couple of big notable performances later on in the season, but especially more so with his try scoring. I think that's a big thing with Hudson Young. He always finds himself in try scoring situations. But I agree, seeing Jeremiah Nenai playing for Samoa, I'm sure that he would have been tested to see if he wanted to play for the Kangaroos as well. That probably would have put him, I would put him just over Hudson Young in my opinion. You got a couple other really nice edge-back rollers, maybe younger edge-back rollers you could really test in that position, like Jacob Preston's of the world, stuff like that you could believe for the future instead of having someone like Hudson that's, I'd say probably about 25, maybe 26. I'm guessing he's still fairly young, but
yeah, his age and his gameplay is not a worry. It's just, Australia's back rows, they're going to play 80. Let's be real. Cam Murray and Angus are going to play 80. Carrying a back rower on the bench is a selection. It's okay. It's not even Hudson as a full-blown player. He just doesn't have the ability to play through the middle. I've seen him play through the middle in Origin. He's just not that option. Whereas Barnett, he can play the edge. He can play the middle. That's such a better selection. For me, I would
Ruben
even
Cotter,
probably have,
same.
Ruben Cotter, same thing. I would have had, Lindsay Smith in that spot instead of Hudson Young on the bench,
Yep.
I think that would have been a better option. But, everyone keeps seeing something in Hudson to the point where, they pick a back row on the bench and then he plays 10 minutes. And that's probably why I look at him as not a fit, because it's the way that the coaches are using him. It's no fault of his, I guess. He's just trying to do his job. He might get thrown in the middle and he doesn't play there. But that's what happens when you pick a back row that can solely only play back row on the bench. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for him going forward in selections either. Well, from a fan view anyway, I'm looking at it going, what the fuck? But yeah, look,
you saw him obviously
good.
in the New South Wales Blues, right? Like you saw him in those positions. You saw that, I think the blessing and the curse of a Hudson Young is his ability that, he's going to be in the contest. He's got effort plays and that, but he also gives away a lot of penalties off the back of that. And that's usually how he plays his contests and that. But I totally agree with you. As soon as he gets pushed into the middle, you probably take away a little bit more of his skill set to more so than what he is on the edge. Like he's a kick threat on the edge. He's a lot more of good ball and good moments. Yeah, exactly, bro. Exactly. So I totally agree. Like if you had someone like Lindsay Smith that could do a lot more of the middle work, especially with the versatility of Ruben Cotter and Mitch Barnett, you have cover there in those positions. Or you got Cam Murray and Angus Crichton are both going to play long minutes on the edge anyway. So
exactly right. It's just confusing. That's all it is.
Yeah, and I think the big notable names too will bounce back over to Tonga for the future. You got Latu Fanu that plays for the Tigers, nice little number 6 in that. He's currently injured from what I've heard anyway with a shoulder injury, but he would have been good to have in that 6 jersey for the future and that. Samuel Fanu's another one as well for the future edge back role for the Tongan squad. So they do have the ability to go a little bit lighter in the middle to have more mobility as well in the future, but I'm guessing a lot of these guys due to injury and that. And even that, just looking at the squad in general, I probably wouldn't have picked too much different, but I do think the lacking part of Tonga in the squad is what we've been both speaking about is more of the mobility in the middle in the defensive end. Like Adam Fanor-Blake is a complete juggernaut in the attacking end, but he's still about 120 kilos trying to get himself off the dirt in defensive moments, trying to clean up the ruck work, where you could have had like a Keon Kaloma-Tungi in that Jason Tamalolo role that can play in behind and really clean up a lot of those efforts there for Tonga. But that's just my opinion there. For that squad.
I agree, bro. I completely agree.
All right, bro. Do you have a score prediction at all for the Kangaroos versus Tonga game overall? I know you said around that 20 plus for the Australian Kangaroos, but do you have a score in mind that you have a thought about?
Yeah, 42-8.
You going that big?
Yeah.
I love the confidence. I went the 32-18 score range. I went around that. Okay. I think that they're going to strike early. Like, being the Tongan boys that they have, their energy, their physicality fairly early on in the contest is probably going to give us a little bit of trouble. But then you have Paddy Carrigan that they can put up with the lights of him. Isaiah Yeo as well is pretty physical in the middle defensively. So I think we'll hold in. Maybe they'll crack us first. Who knows? But like the PNG Kumul, the Prime Minister's test over the weekend, I think we'll just turn it over. The ruck speed will start to get quicker and quicker. The rotations will start to happen. And that's where I think we're going to break them open later on and build on that 30-point scoreline, I think.
Okay. I like it.
All right, a couple of questions here in the chat. Michael, shout out Michael. Thank you so much, my brother, coming through. Who is going to take it out the whole championship? Any early guesses, brother? I got the Kangaroos. You probably got the Kangaroos?
Yeah, Kangaroos, bro.
Smoky. Is there any smoky of the Kiwis or the Tongans?
No.
You got to show it straight up.
Look, no, I can't say yes. There's no reason for it to be. Not with the outs that they've got. If they had, the Hugheses, the Dylan Browns, Nelsons, Nicaragua, like those guys, it would be a lot closer, especially this Australian squad. It would be a 100%. Lot closer. I would be leaning towards the Kiwis a little bit more, but no, not with all the outs.
Yeah, that damn injury bug, bro. It's killing everyone at the moment. And Easy Wreck, thank you so much for coming through. Definitely agree with us here. Grant versus Havili. Grant will run amok in the middle, and that's kind of what we're expecting in this contest, my bro.
Yeah, Grant definitely showed that he's the superior hooker towards his back end of the season. He didn't do a lot in the grand final. Well, with that said, he was probably one of the only Melbourne players still trying in the grand final. But, yeah, he's going to absolutely kill these forwards through the middle, so excited.
Any bets? Also, guys, when we're talking about betting, please make sure you gamble responsibly as well. But any bets you got for the Australian versus Tongan game for the weekend that we're going to be watching live and cheering home?
Yeah, so I snuck a Aussie women's and Aussie men's multi together. So I went Isabel Kelly, Julia Robinson, and the Hammer and Tom Trbojevic anytime, and that's paying $760. And then
I like that.
Yeah, so the Hammer and Tom Trbojevic alone is $4. So if you just wanted to beef that up a little bit more, but across the whole weekend, I went Taufa for the women's, the Hammer and Viliami Kikau. They're paying $19.65, and then just a couple of other random little ones. But yeah, the Aussie ones, I'm really targeting, our outside backs. I think our structure will show a lot. I don't think we'll crack them through the middle too much. You might see a sneaky short ball to Angus Crichton to crash over off Tom Dearden. And then, you potentially might see Harry Grant score, but I think, if anywhere, Tonga's going to be tight in the middle and a little bit lazy on the edges. So I think we'll strike out wide.
And so, with me, guys, I got Australia head-to-head because I wanted to build on that multi, get the three-legger, get the bet return. Shout out Sportsbet and all the other betting companies that do the bet return. Angus Crichton to crash over. I do agree. I think it's going to come a little bit wider as well. But I do also sniff out. I saw Harry Grant for $4, and I think that, with the ruck work he'll get through, I think it's a little sneaky one like he did against Penrith, with lazy forwards trying to get off the ground. I reckon he could just sneak one in, and that's at $11 odds. I'll chuck a $5 on that, get me $55 off that. And we'll talk about the Fiji and Papua New Guinea one a little bit later overall. But before we get into that, I want to talk about the Jillaroos and the PNG Orchards as well. You just touched on a couple of players you wanted to score over. Your thoughts overall on this game? The big one, a name that I actually want to talk to you about too, Julia Robinson, bro. How much of a freak and a gun is she, right? Like, she is built like a brick shit house. Like, she's like yoked up, speed on the edge. You want to score a try this weekend. Shout out to her, but your thoughts on her?
Yeah, but I think she trains at the same gym as Bronson Sherry.
Thanks,
but they look at beefy as hell, bro. The two of them, beefy as hell, tatted up. Like, they could be like twins. Might be Bronson Sherry playing for the Broncos women. You never know. But no, she's a beast, Bo. She's an absolute freak, eating up the meters out of the back end and can finish as well. She's so powerful. And then you look at that squad, man, it's just stacked. If you're leaving out Jess Surges and Jamie Chapman out of that back line, and it's probably a little bit of a blessing in disguise that Ivani Politi went to Samoa, because where would you try and squeeze her in as well on top of the squad? It's
incredible.
It's stacked, man. The only thing I think they're lacking a little bit is on the bench, and everyone's up in arms about Koenig not getting a spot. I potentially think she should have been able to get on that bench for sure.
Yeah, for sure, bro. That squad is so crazy. Tonga Tuki as well, Olivia Higgins, Talfa, Clydesdale, Apps, Shannon Martor, Millie Boyle. That front row pairing of those two, far out, man. Quincy Dodd off the back of that. Taryn Aiken, Ali Brigginshaw, Jakita Whitfield, an incredible player that's playing for the Cowboys at the moment. Tiana Penatani, Isabella Kelly, Julia Robertson, and Tamika Upton. That is a top to bottom crazy squad, bro. Give us a score prediction for this game as well. You ready to give away your multi prediction? But are we looking at the 50s here? We're looking maybe 60s.
Bro. Yeah, look, I would say at least 50. I'm gonna go 54-6.
Oh, I like that. I can't remember what I said last night. I think I was upwards of like the 60 points, 60 like nil or something like that. But shout out to the Orchards. It's obviously good to see international football, and the only way they can get better is continue to go out there and continue to work on their game. But it's going to be a tough night out with this squad that they're going to be up against here. Like we're talking about the best at each position right now.
Yeah, exactly. In the punters dribblers page, you see that dude carrying on about the PNG women. I was like, come on, bro, just calm down. Like, you're really gonna shit on them for not beating Australia or competing with Australia? Like, dude, come on.
Bro, like what can they do? Legit, we're talking about probably the best fullback in the game, two of the best wingers or outside backs in the game. Jakita Whitfield usually plays center, but an incredible backline player. Isabel Kelly, probably one of the best, if not the best center in women's rugby league at the moment, with Tiana Penatani, who is incredible for the Sharkies this year, and upwards of probably a top 5 center, if not top 3 center in the competition right now. Probably two of the best halves in the competition, two of the best front rows in the competition right now. And to leave a Dalian medalist off the squad, like that's what it is. Like, I feel for the Orchards a little bit, but I'm sure they're going to show a ton of heart out there. So, as PNG fans, settle down, please.
Yeah, like just carrying on after the game on the weekend, them losing. And I thought, come on, bro. Like, the girls are out there giving it a crack.
Bro, and like the men out there obviously scoring 20 points on Australia, and like 2 early tries they struck on us. They looked really, really nice as well. Like, seeing the schoolboys 22 all. There's a lot of other big performances from PNG.
Exactly.
PNG side. So, get around those guys and get around the girls. Like, they're going to go out there and try and perform. But a couple of chats I want to bring up too. Jazzy talking about the Australian squad, in my opinion. Aussies winning too often is boring. It's just as boring as the All Blacks winning all the time as well. Shout out to Jazz. But also not hating on Australia. It's just everybody else is an underdog. So I have to support the underdogs. Plus, I want the international game to grow and get more fans on board. And it will come in time. Obviously, it just needs a lot of those injury players for the Kiwis and stuff to come back and play. That Samoan squad, a lot of players missing out of that squad. But I'm sure that when they get back up fit and healthy, that squad can test it with the best of them as well. So the international game will grow. But yeah, just in moments like this with a lot of injuries, it's tough to go away from that Australian side that is technically superior at the moment.
100%. And Jazzy, you're always an underdog, brother. Look at your little picture.
Shout out the Waz, baby. Up the Waz. Up the Waz. Best underdogs of all time. All right, moving over to Fiji Bati versus PNG Comores, my bro. As we kind of touched on before, both these squads are fairly good squads from what they pick from. I know PNG missing out with Alex Johnson. No Alex Johnson in the squad. And a couple other notable names talking about. So they got Nene McDonald playing fullback, which is a very interesting one in my opinion. I usually prefer Nene on the wing and that. A couple of players to watch out for. Robert Derby, a really good Cowboys winger up and coming. So definitely keep an eye on him. Could get a spot for Cole Felt this season. Obviously some good halves there. Lockie Lamb, Cole Laybart, we spoke about a lot before. Valentine Richard, a really nice front rower for the PNG Comores, but that Fiji side too, bro. Suni Taruva out fullback, Micah Sivo and Sammy Valamai on the wings. Michael Jennings, Wanga Blake and centers. Like, it's a strong squad, bro. Your thoughts on this game? Do you give the edge, you said before, to Fiji? But your thoughts overall on how they're going to get it done?
Yeah, I'm just going to give it to Fiji and I think that'll just be just because of Kikau. It's just the man. Nah. I think Kikau will have a really good game though. Just his effort, and he's gone back to that leadership type player like he was at the Panthers. He's found that form again. So, but Taruva, he's probably already in a Tigers jersey, so he might play pretty bad. But missing Coruscant, bro, it's going to be a bit of a big one for him. Yeah. But I do see it being 1-12 either way, and I'm going to lean towards Fiji just. But yeah, my multi will be Viliami Kikau anytime and Reese Martin anytime, and that's paying $15 or something.
Love to see it, bro. Love to see it. Shout out to Jazz. He wants to throw one back at you, bro. A couple of middle fingers there, and underdogs for life with the laughing faces. Shout out Jazzy, a big supporter of the channel and the show.
Love it.
For me, bro, I have a little bet here for the PNG Kumals. We kind of spoke about this on pre-show on that, but seeing PNG Kumals at $2.50, I know Fiji probably have a lot more NRL talent across the board in general, but I do like the halves pairing of Lockie Lamb and Kyle Labart. They usually bring them home with the PNG Kumals, and I'm pretty sure they got an upset the first game of the Pacific Championships last year over the Fiji Bati. So I went PNG at $2.50, Judah Rimbu and Robert Derby, and altogether that gave me $21 odds. Chuck a fiver on that, $107.50 a baby.
That's nice. I like that.
Yeah, but a lot to watch out there for. All right, guys, to end off the show, we will actually talk about the Tongan women's squad versing Fetu Samoa. Shout out to my business cousin Avania Polite getting the fullback jersey and a co-captain there for the Fetu Samoa squad. In general, a very strong, both two sides fielding a fairly strong squad overall, but I probably sway the way of Fetu Samoa with a couple of names here. Vania Polite, you got Lindsay Tui, a really nice up-and-comer there for, I'm pretty sure the Parramatta Eels she's still with, even though I think she's just signed for the Bulldogs. I still got to double check on that. Okay. Nua Sala, Destiny Brill, Sienna Lofipu. Yeah, a lot of really nice names there. For the Tonga squad, names to look out for, we got Baki, we got Tona Hiku, and we have Tegan Dimmick's a really nice player, and Natasha Penatani, a really good, the twin sister to Tiana Penatani. So your thoughts overall on this game, brother, and which way you're probably going to sway in this contest?
Bro, there's going to be some solid contact in this game, that's for sure. But I'm gonna go with Samoa. I'm gonna go Samoa by 2, and I'm gonna go Avani Politi anytime try scorer.
Love to see it. Love to see it. I'm definitely going to be there, bro. I think that Fetu Samoa are going to get it done fairly well, just because of the skill set across the board for Fetu Samoa comparatively to Tonga. I think Tonga is going to miss out on Tiana Penatani a little bit too much.
100%. 100%.
But Jazzy is chucked up in the chat as well. Did you guys hear that the Tongan women had a brutal opposing session with the Fiji men's? No, we haven't. Make sure you chuck in the chat what happened with that situation there. Fiji, yeah, it would be a pretty interesting little contest there.
Was it on or off the field, brother?
We'll leave it there. No. Nah, bro. We'll move it over to any questions, guys. Anyone in the chat, if you want to chuck in before we move off. Brother, your thoughts over the weekend, up and coming. Obviously, we're going to both the Jillaroos and the Jillaroos game and the Kangaroos game against Tonga. Really excited to see that at Suncorp. Definitely need to do more international games for the future for the NRL, right?
Yeah, look, they need to find a way to incorporate it a lot more, whether it's the start of the season, have a break mid-season, or, I just don't know if after the season works. I think players are a bit burnt out and they're putting that second, and that's fair enough. And they want to probably go on holidays. You can't blame them. But, yeah, I don't know. It just puts a bit of a damper on the international season. So potentially maybe a start of the season thing or a mid-season break. And, you have a 4-week period there in the middle of the season. But then again, everyone not playing will become unfit. It's almost like you've got to start again. It's tough, man. They need to figure out a better system, though, to make sort of international the pivotal. That's what you want to get to.
Yeah. Anzac Test would be incredible to come back, in my opinion. I'd love to see that again.
I don't know why they ever got rid of it, man. That was such a special day.
That and remember they did do the representative rounds a couple of times. That was fairly interesting. We saw Chanel Harris-Tavita that time score that game winner against PNG from memory. There was a couple of really nice moments of that. But Jazzy actually got back to us here. The Fiji men started the session taking it lightly, and then the coach said, set a rock up as they start going hard again with the women. Interesting. Yeah, shout out to Fiji, man. Oh, there's not going to be a Jared Hayne joke in this, is there? Please keep that out. Jazzy. No, but if that's true, man, well, gee.
No, that's definitely a Jared Hayne joke.
That's what I was feeling. I felt like that was coming.
It's coming. It's going to be.
It's an interesting situation there. Interesting situation.
Did
you see the size of Jared Hayne?
Yeah, bro. He's
God. It's not the Hayne plane anymore. It's a Hayne Airbus.
He's been eating too many women.
Oh my God. And we might end it there, right? Shout out, Jazzy. All right, my brother. Appreciate you jumping in. Oh no, here we go. It's not a Jared Hayne joke.
Come on, Jazzy.
Yeah, he promises. Yeah, what a joker. What a joker. All right, brother. Anything more that you want to add before we can chat off, bro?
Nah, bro, I'm all sweet, my man. other than the UFC, bro, shout out to Brendan Royval if you follow along, man. That dude, gotta love that guy. He had a killer win on the weekend against an undefeated fighter, getting himself back into a title rank fight as well. So excited to see him in the near future. Yeah, we definitely got more UFC coming up in the future as well. Max Holloway versus LEOTA Topuria. That's going to be a really interesting little matchup. I'm a massive Max Holloway fan. I know you're a big Max Holloway fan, but it's going to be a very, very, serious fight for the featherweight competition. Jazz is like, I'm serious. Go and Google the shit. I will have to Google it before we go. Bro, that's crazy. I want to know the scoreline and all. I really do. I want to know how it turned out. Go on, give it a Google, bro. I'll give it a quick Google right now. See if I can find it. But bro. Hopefully Max can get one done for our boy Volk. Get some redemption. Hopefully. It's all the shit they'll talk between the two of them, and I don't like Ilya's shit talk, so he's a little bit slow, bro. He's a little bit slow. Fucking hell. Is it they're twice our size. Fiji men take on Tongan women in a weird opposed training session. So this is on Fox Sports. Fiji's men, I'll actually bring this up on the web page thing here. That's not going to even out, but anyway. I can't see shit, but is there a video? There is no video. I wish there was, actually. Anyway, Fiji men's team have used an unconventional opposed session with the Tongan women's side. The Daily Telegraph reported Fiji Bati were training at Albert Park, Suruva on Tuesday before engaging with the Tongan women's side in a opposed session, as a Tongan official asking for the opposed session with the men, and Fiji's officials agreed. Here we go. Bati stars who took on the women, including Viliami Kikau. Oh, man. Imagine Viliami Kikau running it at these. Oh, bro. I know, like, politically correct, like, equality, but we've got to talk about it, man. Like, we're talking size, bro. Like, that's crazy. Viliami Kikau, Suni Taruva, Mike Acevo, Wanga Blake, Tuikama Kamitha, all these guys. Tane Milne against. Bro, Tane's going to get suspended out there, bro. He's going to have some dumb shit. Oh. When did Jared Hayne start coaching Tane Mill? That's not a good mix. Viliami Kikau, it's obviously a bit weird, but it was really good. The Tongan coach was telling us to go hard, tackle, and get them to the ground. Shout out the Tongan coach. That Tongan coach clearly hates his fucking team. Oh, that's crazy. Shout out to the women, man. Going at it with the big boys and that, and I'm sure, they would have. Fuck, bro. I just can only imagine going up against Viliami Kikau and that, hard pass, eh? That's a big day, bruh. That is a big day. Jazzy landing it off here. I'll have my sincere apology now. Thanks for that bullshit joke. All fun. We apologize, Jazzy. We knew that. And now we can lay you up to a Jared Hayne joke to end us off the show, huh? But appreciate you jumping on as always, bro. But yeah, we'll pretty much end it off there, bro. Thank you so much, guys, for jumping in. All the 74 viewers, all the chatters there. Jazzy, as always, jumping in the chat. Michael, thank you so much, guys. Appreciate you jumping in for another episode of Down Unders. We'll be back next week with our review of the Australia versus Tonga matchup, our, moments of the game that we had together. Really, really excited for this weekend coming up, brother. Anything more you want to add? Yeah, just our cash multis. Let's get it, boys.
Let's get it, baby. Cheer it home, baby. Cheer it home. Take it easy, guys. Have a good
Have a good
weekend.
week.
Ladders.